Welcome to the Bourbon Van. I'm Phil.
I'm Julie, and it's round two.
Grumble, 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 grumble.
Well, if you were just about to pause the video to take out a ruler and measure my teeny tiny Santa beard to try and figure out what day we're on, I'm going to save you the trouble. We're on day 9. It's round 2, which means you're going to start seeing bottles you've already seen at least once before in this tournament, and we're starting today with the bracket that kind of split us the most here. Julie picked 2 bottles, I picked 2 bottles, so she's going to go first, then it's up to me, and aren't you excited?
I actually am excited. I think I win. Mine are delicious.
Well, while she gets started there and checks out the noses on these 2 glasses, let me introduce the bottles she's going to be tasting. Starlight Distillery. This is Huber's Indiana Straight Bourbon at 92 proof, aged 4 years, sells for $30. Made in Indiana. This was a gift from my brother.
Love it.
And the other bottle here, that one's a bourbon. This is a rye. This is Michter's Single Barrel Kentucky Straight Rye, 84.8 proof, also aged for 4 years. It sells for $48. So big price differential, semi-small proof differential, totally different type of whiskey differential. Good luck with all that.
Thank you. I want to say both of these nose great. Nose number 2, just pure butterscotch, baby. Let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Are you going to have something?
I was going to say, speaking of getting right into it, I haven't had this since the first round, so it's been a minute. 8 days to be absolutely accurate.
It almost has a bit of a wine taste on the back end, like walking around a vineyard or something like that, or tasting, I don't know.
Well, it's better than wandering around a vineyard. Sounds good to me.
It does sound nice. And that's a tasting note didn't get the first round.
Right.
So I really liked this one. It's a little earthy, which you know I tend to enjoy. I find it really well balanced. I mean, it's low proof, so there's not a ton, of those roller coaster flavors going on. The finish isn't super long, but I'm enjoying it. One more sip for good measure. Yum. On to glass 2. Man, butterscotch. That sip was a bit almost like an espresso bean. It tastes like cookie dough. Like cinnamon. There's a little oatiness in there. Some chocolate. I really like that. So I'm ready to make a decision. Both of these are delicious.
Okay.
And I think they both coat really well, especially considering their proof point.
Sure.
So in this specific matchup, it really came down to flavor profile for me. And glass number 2 just checks all the boxes. It was just deliciously sweet. The mouthfeel was nice. I thought the finish was actually a little bit better. There's something about glass number 1 that got a little bit bitter for me mid-palate. Okay. And I'm happy with it.
Okay. Do you want to raise your glass and tell me what letter it is?
I would love to. It is B.
B, and it's no surprise to you. It's Michter's.
It's not surprising, but very delicious. And I know that coffee note isn't something I'm supposed to be getting, that espresso-y coffee note.
I don't know about
but
that.
I'm getting it today, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those bottles that every time we return to it, it seems like we find something new in it.
Yeah.
So I'm not super surprised that you're still finding new things in it. Well, that's it for Starlight in this tournament. We will swap out these bottles, and it's my turn next.
I can't believe it. Welcome to matchup 2, and I do not envy you this matchup.
Yeah, I've been dreading this one a little bit myself because this first bracket, none of these bottles have really hit my palate all that well. I do like them all, but the 2 that I moved forward were the 2 that I thought were not going to move forward at all. So
I literally can't believe it.
I find myself in a really weird position here of really tasting 2 bottles that historically I've not liked all that much. So let me introduce these really quickly. This is Bluegrass Distillers. It is a toasted oak bourbon that is 100 proof. It is aged for 4 years and then put into a toasted oak barrel for another month. We bought that for $58. Pricey. And next up, Maker's 46 Cask Strength. It was one of their first batches. It is 109.6 proof, aged approximately 5 to 7 years, and then goes through that 46 finishing process. It is, of course, from Maker's Mark, a wheated bourbon that sells for $60. On to the nose, glass 1.
And I get to keep enjoying my glasses.
You don't want to pour something from my menagerie here?
I do not.
Okay, that's fair. Oh boy. toasted marshmallow, a little bit of s'mores maybe. It doesn't smell awesome, but it smells very inviting and warm.
I mean, maybe because mine were very light colored, that I'm noticing yours so much more. But that glass one is just a beautiful, rich, oaky color.
And it smells very rich.
I also was thinking, with every note that you just described, whichever bottle that is needs to go into our eggnog competition on reveal day.
I wasn't already thinking about that.
Oh.
More toasted oak, a little more marshmallow. Both of these have a touch of grassiness to them.
I like it.
This one's got a little bit of a pipe tobacco to it. This one reminds me a little bit of Grandpa's Cherry Rum pipe
I
tobacco.
love it.
For nostalgia alone, I'm gonna give it to number 2 on the nose. That sounds weird. I'm gonna say glass number 2 on the nose. Number 2 sounds like bathroom code.
Maybe, but I was just picked up my glass number 2 and I was like, this nose is unbelievable. I just want to dive in there, swim around, and just like pour it on top of my head.
I'm not gonna
So
dive into
delicious.
anything. I can't swim, but I'm gonna go ahead and have a sip of glass number 1.
I drank with you like I was drinking the same thing.
A lot of richness, warmth. There's heat here. The flavors are toasty and warm, like putting on a blanket and snowshoeing out to one of these hiking shelters out here, and there's a fire going in that potbelly stove, and it feels great. And I think I like glass 1. I'm pretty happy with how that's going down right now. I'm gonna have another sip of it, and then I'll clear my palate and move on to glass 2.
I am pumped to find out what glass number 1 is.
It's pretty good. You know, there's something farmy about this glass. I really like that on a lot of whiskeys, but I don't find it super appealing here. That does not perfectly marry up with that super sweet, s'mores-tastic sort of first blush tasting that you get from that glass. Okay, palate cleared, on to glass number 2. Really similar tasting notes here. This is really bizarre. I love it because the proof points are close enough. I can't tell. Plus, I think they both drink hotter than their proof points would indicate. That time around, glass 2, I found some milk chocolate, a lot of caramel, however you want to say it.
Depends where you're from.
But the caramel's pretty one note. It's not overly exciting to me. And there's a bit of bitterness there that I'm not super crazy about.
If I told you that just by nosing the glass I could tell you which one was which, would you believe me?
No.
Before I reveal which glass it is, I really do want to take a wild guess.
Based on the nose?
Just based on the nose.
Both of these kind of all over the place on the palate. They're both drinking hotter than I think they probably should at their proof points. I'm not overly impressed with either one of them. And what I was worried about when I looked at this initial foursome is that a not great bottle is going to sneak through into the third round.
Yeah.
And after tasting both of these, I'm sure that's going to be the case. So I'm a little bit bummed about that, but that's how the randomizer works.
Yeah.
And we'll see who they have to face off in the next round, but I don't have a good feeling about either one of these bottles. Well, there's a little bit of pipe tobacco coming through now on glass 1. I'm pretty sure that I said on the nose I was finding it on glass 2. So that toasted thing, it really throws me off. Well, I was all excited because I was like, oh wow, there's caramel corn on glass 2. And then immediately bitter oak followed it, which is not my favorite. So every time I find something to like in these glasses, I find something immediately following it that I don't like.
It's so crazy that you're struggling so hard with this one.
Glass 2's in the lead, how about that? Is there one of these that you would pick over the other?
By the nose alone, yes, 100%.
Really? My goodness. There's something more on the finish that's happening on one of these glasses. It's lasting longer and it's been more pleasant consistently. Seriously grassy notes on glass 1 that don't quite fit with the rest of that flavor profile. Throwing me off a little bit. So I'm going glass 2.
I am speechless, actually. And I will say,
You don't sound speechless at all.
but I'm gonna say, nose alone, I would be 99.9% sure that glass number 1 was Maker's and the Bluegrass was glass number 2. And I would have immediately chose glass number 1.
Well, tell me what I got here. This is letter, oh, what a handsome looking A. Looks like an anarchy symbol, which is pretty much how it feels right now.
Moving on to the third round, against my better judgment.
Or mine.
Bluegrass. I can't believe it. Oh, it was like my least favorite bottle of the year, I think.
When we opened it, it was shocking how much I didn't like it. Both of us were not fans of it. That's opening up though. That bottle is consistently opening up. I also think it's had some kind of poor competition. Bluegrass moves on for me. Michter's moves on for Julie. I don't have a great feeling about either one of those bottles in the next round. Tomorrow, round 2, day 2. We can't wait. We hope you join us, and we hope that your bracket is looking good. I bet it's not, but hang in there because there's not a ton of them that are looking good at this point.
It's anybody's game. Well, except for my BFF down in Florida. She has done terribly.
Well, from wherever we are,
To wherever you are.
even if you're in Florida.
Cheers.
Cheers.